Let's get straight to it. We have team coverage as we track yet another storm rolling in. We'll get to ABC 10's Bridget Biorlo and Marcus Allen in just a few seconds.
But first, we want to check in with Jordan Tolbert. Jordan, you're covering weather and traffic today. Is wind the biggest concern with the storm?
Yeah, obviously there are a number of concerns with this storm, which I'll get to in just a minute. But right now, what I want to show you, I took this yesterday. This is in the Arden Arcade area. You can see this is just a massive tree that got sent over in this neighborhood because of, the soil gets so saturated out there and then mixed with winds. It's a bad combo. Expect, down power lines, down trees, and make sure to have a plan if these things do happen, because in the end, you can't always prepare enough for these things when it comes to really severe storms. So right now, speaking of storms, it is off the coast right now and moving into our area. Almost everywhere is going to be feeling the impacts of the storm right now. It's almost to Sacramento. It's already moved through Stockton, Modesto this morning. Some areas in the foothills also getting hit with some rain and maybe sprinkles if you live up near Placerville this morning. Moving in throughout the day, and also it's going to be really strong, this rain during the commute this morning. If you're headed out between 7 and really 9 a.m., there's going to be some really heavy rain this morning. Of course, with heavy rain comes flood concerns as well. When you have so many consecutive days of rain, flooding concerns are always at top of mind. Streams and creeks and rivers rising like the Sumnes River, like we saw this whole past week. A high wind warning is in effect. We could see gusty winds in the valley spots up to 60 miles per hour and overnight as well while you're sleeping. So just know things could happen overnight and you might be waking up to down trees, power lines, things of that nature. So have a plan in place before this storm hits us. Snow levels are rising through Wednesday. Today they are high at around 4,000 feet or so. And then they are going to rise throughout the day as the storm becomes warmer. 1 to 3 feet of snow possible in the High Sierra by the time this system ends on Thursday. So in terms of the impacts, of course, heavy rain, heavy mountain snow as well. Travel is also going to be a concern, and flooding as well. But the wind is going to be the biggest thing today, with the rain that's continuing to hit our area. Like I said, it's making soil softer for trees. Watch out for your cars where they're parked near trees, things like that. These are all things we have to think about as we head into a really stormy weather season throughout the week. So rain today, of course, rain through tomorrow. Friday, a little bit of a reprieve, light showers, and then we're right back into it again this weekend. So like I said, tons of rainy weather. If you live in a low-lying area, sandbags are always a great way to, prepare for these kinds of conditions. This is Highway 50 at Myers right now, 6,400 feet. This is the calm before the storm here. Tomorrow, it's definitely not going to look like this. No chain controls in effect right now on I-80 or Highway 50 either, but anticipating those as we move throughout the day. And of course, the biggest thing we're talking about here today is wind. So we're going to go over to Bridget Biorlo. She's showing us the impacts of those windy conditions. Good morning, Bridget.
Good morning, Jordan. With those potentially 60-mile-per-hour winds in the forecast heading our way for tonight's storm, crews are warning people to prepare for more of this. Down trees and power lines. This large oak fell on New Year's Eve. We're told a young couple lives here. They were actually out celebrating the holiday when this happened, so no one was injured, but they were alerted to this from their Ring doorbell. And as you could see, the tree fell on the home itself, even went through the roof, through the front door, and caused significant damage. And crews are worried that they're going to be seeing a lot more of this tonight. As the winds pick up, they're expecting even stronger winds than what we saw over the weekend. By the way, they say what they saw over the holiday weekend was unprecedented in terms of all the debris in the roads and the damage to homes. The other factor in all of this is that we've seen several days of rainfall, and that's going to cause a big impact on trees that are already saturated. Water is heavy. The roots are not being held by the soil because things are so wet and soft at the moment. Then you factor in the added wind speed. So there's a big concern for wind damage this evening. We spoke with one homeowner who had something very similar happen to her home. Thankfully, she was not injured when a large oak fell on her property. Take a listen.
It came last night and said they were live wires. They gave me a tag that said that they're dangerous. It goes all the way. Here's some more live wires. It was very scary. And I had to end up sleeping in my car all night.
And here in Sacramento, we have a lot of these large oak trees. We were once called the city of trees for a reason. They're beautiful, but they come with a lot of danger when you have a tree of this size, just the width of that trunk falling on potentially cars, on homes as people are sleeping. So definitely something to be mindful of as we head into this another powerful storm this evening that could bring the chances for power outages. Over the weekend, we saw over 100,000 people without power on New Year's Eve, and there's more potential for that tonight, which is why utility companies and first responders are right now at a command center just bracing for these calls to come in so that they can have a timely response for all these reports. Bria and Conchetta.
Yeah, Bridget, I mean, just incredible images you're showing us of these downed trees and power lines. But quickly, before we get to Mark, what should people do if they do see a down power line?
Well, the first thing, Conchetta, just assume it is energized. Don't go near it, because we've seen far too often that doing so, touching a live wire, could cause serious injury or even potentially death. So it's very serious that you keep yourself away, keep kids, your neighbors away as well, and then call the SMUD or PG&E, other utility provider, to alert them so they can shut off the lines and protect the other people in the surrounding area, Conchetta.
All right, Bridget, thank you.
Now let's get with Mark S. Allen, who's in Elk Grove this morning. Mark, high winds and downed trees were seen across the area after that weekend storm. And you talked to a family that's facing a devastating loss because of it. What's going on there?
Yeah, what's going on right now is the respite from the storm. I was standing here about 18 hours ago and the water was up to my ankles. If you look now, it's still about 2 inches of water still hanging out here in the driveway. Yeah, behind me, the decimation. There's a virtual forest coming down. Got a chance to catch up with Dylan and his family. Take a look.
That's Dylan Coster and his cousin in the Point Pleasant area of Elk Grove as they walk the long walk of his driveway that now more closely resembles a boat ramp. Water's still a foot deep in some places. But the trouble began before that. Dylan lives on the property, settled by his grandfather. He and his uncle both have houses here, surrounded by trees that began falling, destroying fences, and ultimately both homes.
It's like over 1,000 redwoods, literally a forest, caved in on your house and your uncle's house.
Yes.
Did you ever in your wildest dreams see this coming?
Never, never.
Are you overwhelmed as you walk through it?
I am at this point, and just got to move on. Start cleaning up, and got a couple new chainsaws and gonna go put them to use.
The winds picked up, the rain picked up.
Yes.
When did you know you were in trouble?
When trees started falling all around us. 25 to 30 trees fell on that last windstorm. About 5 of them hit the house. A couple of them are in the house.
Yeah, I mean, and almost went through a room with your infant son.
Yes, they were laying down on the bed while the storm was coming in, and they ran out, but they're all safe and sound now.
And I've noticed we're walking around all this devastation. You've been pretty much nothing but smiles all morning long. What do you say to people going through this or worse?
You just got to keep on.
Keep on keeping on. Such a good guy, good spirit, good family. They indeed are going to rebuild. He wasn't kidding when he said he's got to get to work. Take a look at this. I don't know if you can see this. This was a 120-foot tree yesterday. He's already got it cut down, lined up. As for worrying about the next storm, well, the house is pretty much a complete loss. So the storm can't do much more than it's already done. But as you saw, keeping the spirits up.
Yeah, he's got a persevering spirit, Mark. I could see it there on his face. Seemed a little unfazed, but I'm so glad he's in good spirits, and hopefully they can rebuild and get things back to where they need to be. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Let's take a look at the current outages now. SMUD is working its way through a large number of them. Right now, there are about 600 customers without power. That's 2,000 fewer than yesterday and about 10,000 fewer than Monday.
PG&E is also working through the tens of thousands of customers who lost power. Currently, the areas experiencing the most outages are in Clarksburg and Cortland, just west of Elk Grove, as well as communities between Stockton and Lodi. Well, we caught up with one woman in Stockton who's still waiting for the lights to come back on.
And on top of that, she also had 7 to 8 inches of flooding in her basement. Dana Ulrich lost power around 10 p.m. on New Year's Eve. She found a power line that was laying across her backyard, so she called PG&E, but Dana says that no one answered. She then called police, who called PG&E again. She says crews did eventually come to her home, but said the problem was a transformer. They couldn't fix it, so they left. Now she's lined the windows with plastic in hopes of keeping her 105-year-old home a little warmer.
It somewhat works. I'm sure that if I didn't have it on there, my house would probably be about 30 inside due to no heat.
We're in the 40s right now.
Yeah, I've got it into the, I think about 40, 45, if that.
Still really cold. She tells us that she sleeps next to her twin sister for body heat at night. And when it gets unbearable, they go out to the car and turn the heat on. Well, as this storm moves in, we are tracking it all.
Yeah, from wind speeds to rain totals, and you can track along with us. With the ABC 10 weather app, you'll have hourly and daily forecasts and interactive radar right at your fingertips. We'll be posting updates there on the latest storm news, and you can share what you're experiencing by sending us weather video, and it is all free.